Okay, I should be pulling up now. What's up, everyone? This is your host, Subzero501. See if I can get this pulled up real quick. And I am bringing to you right now the What Now segment. That's right, the What Now segment. Um, this What Now segment, thank you. This What Now segment is where we actually get a chance to discuss things that are taking place all across the world. As you can see behind me, what now? We're talking about Israel, China, Ukraine, and everything else that pops up. We're also going to be talking about politics. We're going to be talking about sports. We're going to be talking about the things that are taking place all across the world, because those things are what causes us to have those moments where we say, what now? Now, of course, it wouldn't be a segment if I did not just focus on just those type of things. It wouldn't be a creative, unique segment if it was strictly about just those topics and that subject matter. So on these what nows, we are going to be talking about some of everything across the world. You name it, we talk about it. You name it, we discuss it. You name it, we bring it to the table, because realistically, these conversations have to be had. Now, that being the case, I think honestly we should come to a point to where not only we can discuss these things, but we can come to a mutual understanding of how they come about and how we come to resolve. Because if we can't answer the questions, the hard questions that our children are going to ask us, then they're going to be lost going forward as well. So we need to be able to present solutions, answers to any situations that may arise. That being said, I thank you for stopping in today. Thank you for dropping in our What Now segment. Now, dealing with this What Now segment, I want to offer you an opportunity to get my book signed by me. Right task, wrong woman. That's right. Right task, wrong woman. Now, this book, it isn't just a book. It isn't just a biography or a memoir. It's meant not just to invoke thought and an introspective perspective coming from you, but it's also to put you into the shoes and into the mind of a young man that is trying to develop and grow into a male, a alpha male in a society that is filled with sharks getting ready to eat the next person that steps out. The realistic part is we need guidelines in order for us to understand how this world works, how the dating world works. In this memoir, I talk about the things that I had to experience in my dating life, in my personal life, in my marriages, and actually when I got a chance to start focusing on me and becoming a better me. These things were very important, because as we get older, we have to learn that as we learn how to communicate with different people on different levels, that same communication that we have is basically how we build those connections with other people all across the globe from every aspect of life. So that being said, I wanted to touch on what now. When you wake up this morning, you probably thought to yourself, what's happening somewhere about something or about someone in some aspect. Well, when you read this book, it'll give you a what now, and it'll answer that what now for what you need to do building yourself going forward. And the what now for today is Hamas and Israel. Now, you heard about a day or so ago that they ended up coming in, and they ended up infiltrating Israel, and they did some very, very bad things. I guess you can say invasion. I wouldn't say invasion on a scale of this. It was an invasion because it was an intrusion, but in order to have a full scale invasion force, you would need quite a bit to fight against an entire country, like especially a country that is formidable like Israel. And that being the case, that being the case, I just honestly believe that we need to continue to pray about what's happening in Israel, and we need to focus on putting ourselves in the position to protect ourselves under the circumstances anything like this will happen. Now, a lot of people, I know it's a lot of people right now like, oh man, nothing like that would ever happen with America. But I'm going to tell you honestly, we don't know what could happen with America. And truth be told, I pray something like this never happens with America. But we can't say for certainty that these situations that do arise, they won't transpire into something of this magnitude. So let's be realistic. I want to lay out the things that are actually taking place on the grounds in Israel right now. Now, I know a lot of people might not be up to speed on what's going on, so let me help you catch up to speed on exactly what's going on. Okay, so the other day, Hamas, which is a terrorist group, which is based in Palestine. Palestine is right off of is the individuals that stay in the Gaza Strip. The Gaza Strip is at the lower west side of Israel, right next to the Mediterranean Sea. Okay? Keep up with me. All right, so the Gaza Strip is where Hamas is from. Over the last couple of weeks, they've been protesting about certain issues dealing with certain legislation that was being implemented from the Israeli government. Now, as this protest was going on, this I guess you could say this orchestrated infiltration was getting ready to take place as well. As that started to take place, as the protests started to take place, the Hamas started to put themselves in position to not only attack Israel, but infiltrate it in ways that they weren't expecting. So, on the day, a day and a half ago, almost 2 days ago, it's about 44 hours in. Yeah, about 44 hours in. So, about 44 hours ago, during the day, they started shelling. They started shooting rockets. Over the course of about 10 to 12 hours, they shot almost 10,000 rockets into Israel. Israel's Iron Dome was intercepting just about all of them, but there were some that got through. Now, the reason they were shooting that many is because they were trying to overwhelm Israel's defense systems. However, their defense systems is top notch. It's the best in the world. It's going to be extremely hard for any country to fight against Israel with the Iron Dome system. So they were able to stop a lot of the missiles that were coming in. However, the way that they orchestrated these attacks, you can tell they had been planning them for years. And it caught them off guard. It caught Israel off guard because there were so many things they were already dealing with, especially with the protests. So I see the protests as a precursor, and it was basically the attention getter before the massive push from Hamas into Israel. Now, that being said, what we also saw was we saw the rockets flying, and we saw paratroopers coming in from Hamas. They were coming in on these crafts with these parachutes, and they were flying into certain zones. I also saw video footage of actual Hamas infiltration individuals or Hamas militants inside several cities. Now, this is what I wanted to touch on. From my understanding, and from what I was receiving, the information I was receiving or that I was getting and retrieving from the internet about what was going on, they were killing all the men and the young men that were able to fight. They were capturing them and they were killing them. And they were capturing the women, the beautiful women, and the children, and they were carrying them off as hostages. Now, the remarkable part is, as Americans, we see this and be like, man, that is crazy. Ain't no way possible something like this could happen here. However, it isn't guns that kill people, or it isn't guns that defend people. It's good people that defend other good people. And realistically, out of all the people that are there, I don't believe their society is equipped like our society. However, just because a person is equipped does not mean they have the mindset to fight. And just because a person think that they would fight does not mean that they would have the mindset to fight at the proper time when it's necessary. Because think of it like this. If you don't know what's going on, and all of a sudden these individuals are coming in your home as if they're military personnel, and they're coming at you at gunpoint. Yes, you know to defend yourself, but do you defend yourself against the military? The way this took place was really jacked up. And I want you to understand, if something like this was to take place here in America and we didn't have access to public media the way that we do right now, to the point to where individuals can get the proper information across, where we can know what's going on, it will be a lot of bloodshed before the reinforcements come in to fight back. That's the point that I want to get to. And I think that's the most important part, because there's always a time frame in transition before you position yourself to throw a back counter blow. And the reality is, in between that time frame, we never know what could take place. This is why we got to prepare for anything that takes place. Israel was just fine 3 days ago. They were at a concert, thousands of people there. And Hamas flew in and they said that it's accounted for 260 lives were lost just at the concert as people were fleeing. They unloaded and shot people as they were running. They snatched. Can you imagine your children at a concert and they snatched your child and your wife and throw them on the back of a buggy and take them to a tunnel system 45, 50 minutes away? Pray for Israel. I pray for the citizens. I pray for all of the people. I pray for Palestine. This peace, the peace that was so-called brokered, the two-state solution that was so-called coming forth, I can almost guarantee I see Israel coming in, and they are going to clean sweep Palestine and the Gaza Strip. And when they clean sweep the Gaza Strip, I can almost guarantee that every single person will no longer have a home. And every person that was a part of the affiliated invasion of Israel will probably be killed. See, this stuff is not just games. This stuff is real. And until we come to the realization that things like this take place, just like when we saw a couple of years ago when Russia decided to invade the Ukraine. Everybody was like, oh man, that is crazy. We didn't think it would go on for 2 to 3 years. I mean, realistically, I didn't either. I didn't think it was going to go on for 2 to 3 years. I didn't. However, it has. And because it has, it helps us come to a mindset of understanding that these things are not so far from our own shores. These things are not so far from the reality that we could face one day soon. Foreign troops on our land. Citizens having to come and build militias to fight back. To help the military, because the military they can't mobilize that quick. Do you know how fast the military can mobilize to defend a base? Instantly. What about a city? What about a state? What about multiple states? What about a country? Under the circumstance and the life that we live right now, I honestly feel like we should all be pushing and petitioning to the country, our leaderships, to to build up the defense around our country and our states, or to get we should get to maybe we should get with our local leaderships and build up the defense that we have around our cities and our own states. Because you think about it, each state is kind of sort of like a province. And we each have our own National Guard. We each have our own ecosystem of sustainability in some way, form, or fashion. I love the fact that here in Arkansas, we provide rice for just about the entire world. So we can eat forever with everything that's sustained within the state. However, what's here in Arkansas? I love the living. The air is always fresher. You got hunting, you got fishing. I'm a country boy. I love stuff like that. But you talk about city slickers. What's in Arkansas for a city slicker? City slicker. Yeah, that's funny. I haven't heard of that term in a long time. What's good in Arkansas for cities? I think a lot of the people that don't enjoy places like Arkansas, they enjoy the nightlife. They enjoy the going out, being able to have access. Now, that's one thing that I do enjoy, having access to food and different amenities at all times. Now, I love that. That's one thing I love about Vegas. One thing I love about Miami. And that's one thing I love about Atlanta. Never been to New York. I plan on going one day. But I do love those cities that have an ecosystem that has a revolving door. You know, that is hard to come by. It's hard to, unless, the reason I say it's hard to come by is because people don't want to live in those big old cities and pay all those bills. I'm talking about for a 2-bedroom, 2-bath, $2,600 a month with one person or two people. Or you have a small family. That means that guy got to at least make $6,000 to $7,000 a month. Now, I want to tell you something. The average income right now is around $40,000 a year. $40,000 to $50,000 a year. That's the average salary for a man. $40,000 to $50,000 a year. And I know it's probably a lot of individuals that's watching this and they're like, that is not a lot of money. And realistically, no, it is not a lot of money. But probably because, honestly, you're used to a lot more money. But let's just be real. That is a formidable amount of change in order to sustain your life. In a sense, you got to have a side hustle in order to make some extra bread if you really want to get ahead. You can't just survive off $40,000, $50,000. But anyways, the base salary is about right in between $40,000, $45,000 for a man. So, is that enough? No. But that's base. A lot of y'all are probably like, that ain't enough money at all. You know, honestly, to me, because of the type of lifestyle that I enjoy living, not the type of lifestyle that I have to live. See, we try to take it and be like, oh, because I live like this, I have to live like this. No, you choose to live like this. You can always live lower than your means, and that'll help you build to get ahead. Realistically, that's what a lot of people don't do. We don't lower our means to build where we can get ahead. We always adjust our means to the lifestyle that we're living, and you can't do that to get ahead unless you got a means that is putting flips. I'm talking about making real flips that's putting real money in your pocket. But I digress. Anyways, back to the subject matter at hand. I don't want you to think that America is just so great that anything like this wouldn't happen. I want you to believe that something like this could happen. I believe also this though, if any country has the capabilities of not only defending itself, but also kicking butt and making sure other individuals do not do these type of things, we're that country. However, we have to have morality back inside the White House. And we have to put morality first before anything. Now, a lot of us are putting our pockets first. Now, don't get me wrong. I agree with the pockets because the pockets have to be made. I mean, the pockets have to be facilitated by each and every last one of us. Our pockets are important. If you don't have no good pockets, you are not surviving and you're not thriving. Just being 100. But if you're tapped in and you're doing things to develop and grow and build on something where you can build going forward, then you're doing what you need to do in order to move forward and get where you need to get to where you need to go. I'm gonna turn these mics up just a little bit more. Maybe y'all can you hear me? Can y'all hear me pretty clear? Does it sound good? All right. You hear me a little bit louder now. But yeah, just being 100 though, we gotta get on a grind. We have to have a grind within ourselves. If we don't have a grind within ourselves, you losing. I'm just telling you that right now in 2023. Do you know it's less than all? It's like less. I think it's like 10 weeks to Christmas, something like that. 10 weeks to Christmas, crazy. And the crazy part is, I still ain't even thought about what I'm supposed to be getting individuals for Christmas. It just popped up. And I was just sitting there thinking about that today. That is crazy. Christmas is right around the corner. October is here. Don't waste your money on Halloween presents. Go buy Christmas gifts and go buy the food you need for Thanksgiving, because I got a feeling food prices are about to shoot through the roof. Also, another thing. Y'all know I used to eat Impossible meat. Now, I had a what now moment about a week ago. I was listening to this person. They did research into the vegan meats and all of the meats, the processed meats, and all of the meats that's grown in labs and stuff. And did you know they're using cancer cells in this meat because cancer cells grow the fastest? No more cancer burgers for me, bruh. I'm done. You got me messed up. We gotta look at the stuff that we're eating, and we gotta realize that a lot of the health issues that we're having is because of the foods that we're eating are not authentic foods. They're GMOs. They're modified. They're not the healthiest options. I was juicing watermelon, right? And I would get one that was grown out the ground from a guy up the road that was at a gas station. He would go there every single week. He would be there every single week for days on end. So I would get these huge watermelons. I'm talking about 20, 25 pounds, right? And I'd take it home and I started juicing the watermelons. And my body was retaining all of the juice, the H3O2 that I was getting from the juice from the watermelon. And the guy wasn't there for like 3 days, and I needed a watermelon. So I ended up having to get one from Walmart. And I chopped it up, and I juiced it, and no lie, everything I drank within hours was flushing out of my system. Every single thing I was drinking. Now, the last watermelon, the one that grew from the ground, I was retaining all of it. But the one I bought from the store, it was flushing through my system like I was drinking nothing but water. And I was like, what the crap? That GMO food is not nutritious, and it's doing something to us to the point to where we're not getting what we need to rejuvenate our skin, rejuvenate our health in order to be where we need to be, to grow how we need to grow. And realistically, I feel like I don't just feel cheated and lied to, but I feel like the folks coming after us, in a sense. Like, they are really coming hard for us because they don't want us to succeed. They don't want us to live. None of that. They just want us to get fat, live comfortable, and die. Benefit to the system first. Because they'll save your life and they'll keep you around as long as you're making money for them. But if you're not a benefit to the system, oh no. Yeah, you going about your business. It's crazy how things are going right now. But I digress. Back to the Ukraine, Israel, China. Realistically, Israel is going to be the dominant one in this battle that's going on. However, I am so sad for all the people that's losing their lives in Palestine and Israel. This isn't. We need to stop the bloodshed, and it's just like when Trump said a couple of months ago. He said we need to stop the bloodshed because both sides, especially with this situation with Israel, both the Palestinians and the Israelites feel like they are entitled to that land, in which, in a sense, they both are. But according to the scriptures in the Bible, the Israelites are supposed to be there. They're supposed to be in this land, and my hands are up. I feel so sorry for all the people that are getting kidnapped. They are taking these women, they are raping these women and these children, they are putting them in bunkers. This stuff is gonna get nasty, y'all. And I see if the government don't come through with a military intervention right now, I'm talking about 50, 100,000 troops, and start clean sweeping through the Gaza Strip, they'll probably never see those people that's being kidnapped ever again. And that is so sad. Anyways, switching topics. Let's talk about the Ukraine. The Ukraine has been fighting right now for it's going on 2 years. In February, March, it'll be 2 years. So we're about a year and a half in, and right now Russia is basically taking over the western part. They've taken over a lot of the eastern part, but they're maneuvering. They're starting to take over the western part, and they're gonna basically surround Kyiv and choke it out. It's not looking good, and they've basically stopped talking about the Ukrainian war because they know what's taking place. When we start hearing more and more horrific, tremendous crimes against humanity take place in Russia, that's when you know it's basically falling into a powder keg. It's been a proxy war, and we all know it's been a proxy war for a long time now. We've spent billions upon billions upon billions, probably getting closer to $1 trillion right now on a war for another country. I think it was about a month and a half ago. I watched I want to say it was on 60 Minutes. It might be Dateline. But they were talking about the war and how much money we spent in our supplies. And they said we've depleted majority of our supplies, like 2/3 of our supplies, supplying ammunitions to the Ukraine. And I was like, wow, that is a lot. Especially, under the circumstances that we're in, first and foremost. We're basically in a recession. If you look at these numbers, you look at how high the inflation is, how much our actual model for works compensation across the board when it comes down to the GOP. Like, we're at a position right now to basically say we've been in a recession, but we're dipping into a deeper recession. And, once a recession basically continues to dive, it goes into a depression. And anything that goes through any political power that goes through a depression, it typically has two things to pull it out. It has great people and innovations, and then it has wars. And right now we're getting ourselves into a position to facilitate this depression that we're slowly sliding into with wars. And it looks like two wars right now: Ukraine and Israel. But the only thing about this is this: our leadership is so dumb that it didn't facilitate rebuilding the crap that we need from the first war. So now we're going to facilitate another one. And then we still haven't even started to facilitate and rebuilding the very crap that we need for the replacement stuff for the stuff that we're losing. You can't make this stuff up. However, this is America and this is the world we live in. Anyways, I digress from the Ukraine. China, just over the last few months, have been making very provocative gestures towards in the South China Sea towards Taiwan. Now, this is very, very intriguing because Taiwan, of course, we know Taiwan is a sovereign nation now ran by democracy, influenced by the United States. It is a very, very rich country. And what I mean by rich is it has a lot of resources. It has a whole lot of resources. And these resources are exactly what we need and all these other places, other countries across the world need in order to be successful, especially when it comes down to the technological boom that is taking place all across the world. So as we continue to look at China and as they're and making more provocative gestures towards Taiwan, what China is waiting on is for a vulnerability with the United States to allow it to have the upper advantage. And that, I think, is the sign, or not the sign, that is the check mark they just received from Israel being invaded by Hamas. This is going to be a big one because Israel isn't going to let up this time. And the United States is going to bag Israel. And as I saw yesterday, at the end of yesterday, Hezbollah from Jordan or Lebanon, which is right next to Israel on the eastern side, has started shooting rockets. And Hezbollah has decided to join in with Hamas to fight against Israel. So, of course, we've dealt with Hezbollah and Hamas before. However, with what Israel is getting ready to do to the Gaza Strip and the Palestinians, I can almost smell the Islamic Caliphate take place. I believe this is the time that we see the 12th Imam, the Mahdi, which is what they consider their holy man, to take place on the scene. This individual will unite all Muslim nations together to create the Caliphate, which is the uniting of the Arab Spring. The Arab Spring is the uniting of all the Muslim nations under Sharia law, under the rule of the Quran and Sharia law, to unite together, to push and to I guess it's like a new modern crusade of pushing Islam and the Islamic faith upon the rest of the world. Not saying in the sense of kumbaya, but in the sense of force. The Mahdi, which is the 12th Imam, he shall arise according to Scripture, and as he arises, he will empower his believers to have a mark in their hand and in their forehead. This mark that is in their hand and in their forehead will basically be the teachings and the doings of their master. These individuals will go forth and they will conquer, basically according to scriptures, they will conquer the world. And I'm not talking about just the Quran or the Hadith. I'm talking about the holy scriptures of the Bible. Because the same description in which they talk about the Antichrist, it gives for the Mahdi and the 12th Imam. So understanding theology is extremely important because you can correlate not only prophecy and historical documents, but you can correlate what's happening right now in the world and know where we are in history. This world is getting ready to change, and I hope that you're ready for it. If you're not ready for it, I can almost guarantee you're going to be in for a rude awakening. Anyways, I digress again. All right, let me talk to you about politics. So I was talking to my daddy today, and I got to talking about how Trump got like 30-something indictments or something like that. And I was like, man, they're going to try their best to keep him from